The night he agreed to the blind date, Daniel almost canceled 3 times. He stood in the narrow kitchen of his small apartment, staring at the cracked screen of his phone while the hum of the old refrigerator filled the silence. His 8-year-old son, Leo, was asleep in the next room, clutching a stuffed dinosaur with one missing eye. Daniel brushed his fingers over the photo taped to the fridge, Leo on his first day of school, smiling like the world had never hurt him. That smile was the only reason Daniel kept going. He hadn't been on a date since his wife died 4 years ago. Life had turned into a routine of early mornings, late nights, unpaid bills, and quiet prayers whispered into darkness. Daniel worked as a junior analyst at a massive tech company, a job that barely paid enough to keep the lights on. His boss, his CEO, was a legend in the industry. Brilliant. Untouchable. Cold, people said. A woman who ruled boardrooms with a single look. Her name was Evelyn Carter. Daniel didn't know much about her beyond what everyone else did. She never smiled in meetings. She never missed a deadline. She never showed weakness. So when his coworker insisted on setting him up on a blind date, Daniel expected nothing more than an awkward dinner and polite small talk. He wore his only decent suit, one that had seen better days, and left Leo with Mrs. Hernandez downstairs, promising he'd be back before midnight. The restaurant was modest but warm, the kind of place where candles softened the edges of the world. Daniel arrived early, nerves twisting in his chest. He rehearsed introductions in his head, straightened his tie, and ordered water to keep his hands from shaking. Then he saw her. She sat alone at a corner table, shoulders slightly hunched, her hands wrapped tightly around a glass of wine. Long dark hair framed her face, but it was her expression that stopped him cold. Tears slid silently down her cheeks, one after another, as if she didn't even have the energy to wipe them away. For a moment, Daniel wondered if he had the wrong table. Then she looked up. Their eyes met, and the world seemed to tilt. He recognized her instantly. Evelyn Carter. His CEO. The woman whose name made entire rooms fall silent. She recognized him too. The shock on her face was immediate, followed by embarrassment, then something softer, relief, maybe. "I'm so sorry," she said quickly, standing halfway as if to leave. "This is clearly a mistake." Daniel swallowed hard. Every instinct told him to turn around, to apologize and escape before this turned into a career-ending disaster. But something in her eyes, raw, human, breaking, made him stay. "No," he said gently. "I mean, yes, it's surprising. But if you want to leave, I understand. If not, we can just sit. No titles. No company." She hesitated, then slowly sank back into her chair. Her hands trembled. "Please," she whispered. "Just sit." He did. For a few minutes, neither of them spoke. The waiter came and went. The candle flickered. Evelyn stared at the table like it held answers she was afraid to read. "I didn't plan to cry," she said finally, her voice cracking. "I swear I'm not usually like this." Daniel offered a small, kind smile. "Crying doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human." That was when she broke. Her shoulders shook as years of carefully controlled emotion poured out. She pressed a napkin to her mouth, trying to hold it in, but it was useless. "I don't even know why I agreed to this date," she said between breaths. "I thought maybe. I don't know. I thought if I pretended long enough, I'd feel normal again." Daniel waited. He didn't interrupt. He had learned, through grief, that silence could be the greatest kindness. "My life looks perfect from the outside," Evelyn continued. "Money. Power. Respect. People think I have everything. But I've never felt more alone." She took a shaky breath. "I lost my son." The words hit Daniel like a punch to the chest. "He was 6, she said. A rare heart condition. One moment he was laughing, asking me to read him a story. The next, he was gone." Daniel's hands clenched in his lap. The restaurant faded away. All he could see was Leo's face. I was in a board meeting when the hospital called, she whispered. I chose the meeting. I told myself I'd call back in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Her voice shattered. I missed him. I missed my baby's last moments because I thought the company needed me more. Tears streamed freely now. After that, I built walls. I buried myself in work. I became the woman everyone feared because fear felt safer than pain. And now I don't know how to be anything else. Daniel felt his own eyes burn. My wife died giving birth to Leo, he said quietly. She never got to hold him. Evelyn looked up, startled. I was angry for a long time, he continued. At the world. At God. At everyone who still had what I lost. But my son, he saved me. Every day, he reminds me that love doesn't end with death. It just changes shape. For the first time that night, Evelyn smiled through her tears. I don't deserve peace, she said. Not after what I chose. Daniel shook his head. Guilt is grief's cruelest companion. But your son wouldn't want you punishing yourself forever. She laughed softly, brokenly. You sound like someone who survived hell. I have, he said. And so have you. They talked for hours. Not about work. Not about status. But about late-night fears, empty houses, the ache of missing someone who should still be there. Daniel told her about counting pennies at the grocery store. Evelyn told him about walking through her mansion and feeling like a stranger. At the end of the night, neither of them wanted to leave. I should go, Evelyn said reluctantly. This wouldn't be appropriate. Daniel nodded. I understand. She hesitated, then reached into her purse and slid an envelope across the table. For Leo, she said. For his education. No conditions. Daniel pushed it back gently. I can't accept that. Please, she insisted. Let me do something right. He thought of his son's future, of opportunities he couldn't afford. He nodded, eyes wet. Thank you. At work, things changed quietly. Evelyn began noticing people, really noticing them. She implemented flexible hours for parents, mental health support, scholarships for employees' children. No one knew why. Daniel worked harder than ever, not out of fear, but gratitude. Months passed. One evening, Evelyn showed up at Daniel's apartment with a small gift. Leo opened the door. Hi, she said softly, kneeling to his level. I'm a friend of your dad's. Leo studied her, then smiled. You look sad. She laughed through tears. I was. But I'm better now. They sat together on the couch, reading a story about a dinosaur who lost his family and found a new one. When Leo fell asleep against her shoulder, Evelyn closed her eyes, holding him like something precious she was afraid to break. Later that night, she turned to Daniel. I don't know what this is, she said. But I know I don't want to be alone anymore. Daniel took her hand. Neither do I. It wasn't a fairy tale. It wasn't perfect. But it was real. Two broken hearts, choosing kindness. Choosing humanity. Choosing love, not as a replacement for what they lost, but as proof that even after everything, the heart still knows how to hope.